All right, we're winding it up here. So one of the things I'd like to do is I would like to honor Nick Finch and have him come up and tell his story, because I can't imagine that we couldn't honor the hero of Liberty County. And so could you have a warm welcome for Nick Finch as he comes up to tell us about how he stood for the Constitution and what went on with that.
Thank you. So, as Sheriff Mack was alluding, I had a new hip August 1st, so I'm a little bit gimpy. But he had called me and asked me if I could come, and I said, I don't know if I can come. I said, I just had a new hip, and here I am. So he asked me to speak. So, as he indicated, I am the former sheriff of Liberty County, Florida. I was elected in 2012 and took office January 1st of 2013. In April of the same year, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement came knocking on my door and decided they were going to arrest me and charge me with official misconduct and 2 counts of destroying a public record, which are misdemeanors. Now, when I took office, I had no idea who Richard Mack was. I had no idea who the CSPOA was. I'm just a dumb farm kid from Iowa that made it to Florida and got elected sheriff. And so the state comes after me, they arrest me, the governor suspends me from office, and I'm like, and now what am I going to do? To this day, I still don't really know how he found out, but I get a phone call from Richard Mack one day, and he said, listen, Sheriff, he said, we need to talk, because I think you're a good man, but I can't support you until I know that you're a good man. So we talked, and he finally said, listen, the CSPOA wants to support you. And so he came to support me, and I appreciate it. And I owe him, honestly, I owe him the rest of my career. And if I would have lost all of this, I'd have lost my law enforcement certification, I'd have lost my state retirement, never been able to work in law enforcement again. So I owe Mac a lot, and I'll do anything I can for him. So anyway, they arrest me. I'm going to make this short because I know we're short on time. We go all the way to trial, and Sheriff Mack can tell you, it was a joke. It was an absolute joke. People in the courtroom were laughing, and so it didn't take long. The trial lasted 2 or 3 days. The jury came back 45 minutes later and said I was not guilty. So I immediately walked to the back of the room and pick up my cell phone, call Governor Scott, say, listen, I expect to be reinstated immediately. And he said, we're working on it, Sheriff. You'll be reinstated before the day's over with. So that's kind of the abbreviated version. It was a very serious issue. I was out of work for 5 months without pay. Again, I don't know where I would have been without Sheriff Mack, but so I got reinstated, went back to work, and I've got a story similar to Sheriff Rogers with the federal government. About a year later, the county judge came to my office and he said, Sheriff, we need your help. And I said, yeah, what do you need? He said, well, the bus drivers, so Liberty County is about 60% national forest, and we've got a north-south 2-lane highway that runs north and south through the county. It's Highway 65. And of course we have bear and deer and all kinds of critters in the forest. And so they said the bus drivers are very concerned because the grass alongside the road, the feds won't let us cut, and it's gotten so high we can't see. I mean, we couldn't see anything coming out of the ditches, so we're afraid we're going to get in trouble with a bear coming out and hitting a bus or a deer, and we're going to get some kids hurt. I said, sure, what can I do? He said, well, we're having a meeting with the National Forest Service next week. I'd like for you to be there. So I said, absolutely, I'll be there. This all revolved around a certain endangered flower, and it's a beautiful flower, it is, but they didn't want to cut the flower. So the county was going to mow the ditch, and the feds threatened them with arrest if they did. So I went to this meeting, and we all talked about it, and we actually got on a bus and rode down there and looked, and when we got back, they said, well, we still can't cut it, and neither can you. I said, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to declare it a public safety hazard, and I'm going to send my county road crew down there and cut the ditches. Well, Sheriff, if you do that, we'll have them arrested. I said, we'll be waiting for you. I said, I'll send a couple deputies down there, and when you show up, we're not the ones that's going to be arrested. So, lo and behold, a week later, the ditches were mowed. Everything was good. That's the short version. I could spend a lot more time talking about it, but I know that time is short. Mac, do you have anybody else that you want to speak?
Well, maybe don't.
So anyway, say it again. I thought I'd 5? Okay. Well, I'm not sure what else I can tell him other than during the trial, so the prosecutor, well, there was another guy, Bernie Thompson, had a radio talk show, and I don't know if any of you are from North Florida, but he had a radio talk show, and we were on there. He had me on. He was supporting me. And during the trial, the prosecutor, Jack Campbell, I'll never forget, he was cross-examining me. And I don't know how many of you have ever been charged with a crime or testified in front of a jury, but typically when you testify in front of a jury, you face whoever's asking you questions, take the question, you face the jury, and you answer your question to the jury because they're the ones that's going to be deciding your fate. And so I was doing that, and the prosecutor, Jack Campbell, he said, Sheriff, I'm over here. I said, yes, sir. I said, I realize that, but I'm not testifying to you. I'm testifying to this jury. And I'll be darned if the judge didn't say, Sheriff, face the prosecutor. So this judge was very biased. He also, Mac just alluded to it today, when I went to the jail and released the man that was carrying a concealed firearm, I told him, I said, listen, and his brother was standing right here. One of them was right here and one of them right here. I told him, I said, listen, I don't care if you have a permit as long as you're in Liberty County, but the state wants you to have one, so you probably should get one if you're going to leave the county. At trial, my attorneys tried to introduce that, and the judge said, that's hearsay. They were cross-examining the brother, was standing right beside me, and somehow that was hearsay. So it was rigged. I was never supposed to be elected because I didn't grow up in the county. I'm the first non-Democrat, I didn't grow up in Liberty County, and I'm the first one to ever be elected in Liberty County other than somebody from the county that was a Democrat. So I made history that way. So anyway, so we won at trial, and it's, again, it's a long story, and I could stay here all night talking about it, but I really owe Sheriff Mack everything. And it just goes to show the story I just told about the federal government, much like Sheriff Brad Rogers, it just goes to show how important the office of the sheriff is. Because if you have a strong sheriff that has a backbone and will stand up to the feds will go away. Sheriff Rogers proved it, I proved it, and you can prove it too. So I would say to the sheriffs that are running for office, do the right thing, and good things will happen. It may get painful like it did for me, but I overcame it because I had the truth and I had the Constitution on my side. So with that, I'll wrap it up. Thank you for coming. It's been a great conference. At some point, I think he's going to have me show up at another rally and speak. I wasn't scheduled to speak today, so this is just kind of a short version of what took place. But thank you. God bless you.
Nick, thanks very much. Thank you.